The 735th edition of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code MMA SGPN to get a 50% deposit bonus of up to $1,000.
Heidi ho, degenerinos. We are back, and so is the UFC, finally. Our long nightmare is over. The 4 weeks of no UFC is over. UFC is back this weekend, baby. That's dedicated to the UFC this episode. Why not, right? Because they're giving us a fight night card. It is an Apex card, but the fact that we haven't seen fight cards every week from the Apex for a while, then we're both thinking, hey, this is a good fight card. Whether it is or isn't, who's to say? I'm one of your hosts here. What's my new name now? Big for Nothing, Jeff Fox. That's my name. And thanks for coming to the show. The gentleman to my left, the man on the left, is Daniel Gumby Vreeland. And today is all about the prelims, UFC Fight Night Duran versus Hebos. 2 prelims. Prelims, not Lins. Gumby, welcome back to the UFC world.
I'm glad we have fights back. And not just UFC. You know, we did a LFA show earlier in the week. You know, there's some shorts available as we speak for
tell the people.
Yeah. So we had some technical difficulties with a couple of our regional shows this week. So you're gonna get all of the same picks as you usually get, but they will be arriving slowly as shorts. So check out our shorts. Listen to all of them there. There's gonna be 4 picks for Fury FC, originally 5. One of the fights dropped off. Ditto for one fight night. You're going to see a quick video that has all 4 of those picks in one coming out a little bit later. So make sure to check those out and get in on those picks as well. Some nice underdogs there.
Yeah. So that is on our YouTube channel, of course, MMA Gambling Podcast. And I think it'll probably be Chalk's Fox free too. It'll probably just be Gumby on those, right? So
yeah, I mean, unless you want to make a guest appearance and tell everybody what you know about one fight night. I would say they're probably.
I did a whole episode on it. I know a bit about it. A whole episode that no one's ever going to see, but that's fine. Schedule note: we are back to 5 days a week too. So the hiccup is over. The long nightmare, the 1 week nightmare of you only having us in your offices 3 times a week is over. We're back to 5 days a week. So regular schedule will be Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, regional, aka non-UFC. You know, it could be PFL, it could be Bellator if it existed anymore. It could be one, the biggest fighting organization in the world, or it could be actual real regional ones. And then Wednesday, Thursday will be the UFC, which is what we're covering today. Wednesday, UFC. Today is about the prelims, so we won't talk about the rematch that we're getting in the main event or any of that stuff. We're going to dive. We actually got 7 fights, so we should probably dive into it after I remind you that the NFL playoffs are here, and to make sure that you should be tuning in every day. Yeah, every day for sure to the Sports Gambling Podcast for all your NFL picks and props. They're dropping episodes pretty much daily. Well, not pretty much daily YouTube videos, the pod catcher of your choice. Check out the Mothership Sports Gambling Podcast and thoughts and prayers to all them and all their friends in California because they are under siege right now. Even the SGPN studios are. It looks ominous, the picture they posted on Twitter. So yeah, hopefully the wildfires go away. All right, let's get cooking now. UFC Fight Night Duran versus Hebos 2. The prelims are 4 p.m. Eastern start time this coming Saturday. UFC Apex, but we don't care because we haven't seen fights for a while. It says 14 fights. Is there really 14
it's
fights?
Not a terrible. Yeah, it's also not a terrible fight card, I would say. It's got some fun prospects on it.
Yeah, it's we got 8 fights covered today, 6 tomorrow. It's got decent prospects on it, but when you actually look at now once I've broken it down, like wow, there really is no star power on this fight card. The main event is decent.
Duran and Hebos? Duran and Hebos are big names.
No, the main event is good, but from there, outside of that, you're in trouble.
Chris Curtis Kopylov? Chris Curtis Kopylov is a decent one.
Okay, Dana White. It's a decent one, but we don't care. I don't know why. I guess it's something to talk about. Why I go over this every UFC fight card because it doesn't really matter whether it's good or bad. We win money regardless. I win money picking every fight regardless, right? So a whole year of me winning money. But a New Year's here. Gumby has a chance again. There is more than enough time for you to beat me this year. So
there's still time.
There's still time. Let's see if you can kick things off. We'll kick things off with a lightweight bout in the opener. See if we disagree or agree on this one. Joe Solecki, United States of America. Nurullo Aliev, he is from not the United States. He's from Tajikistan. This is 3 5-minute rounds at 155. Solecki is 13-5 with 9 submissions. He's been knocked out twice, 5-3 in the UFC. He's taking this fight on short notice. And you know my stats on short notice. It's not a good thing if you want to win. He's lost 2 straight. Before that, he won 2 straight. He went 1-0 in Contender Series. He has outstruck his, 5 opponents that we have stats for by 0.21 strikes per minute. He's got better grappling stats, not surprisingly. And then Aliev, maybe it's surprising that he's got better striking stats than someone whose name ends in EV, but it is what it is. He's at plus 455. The book's not impressed. The Tajik Eagle is 9-0 with 2 knockouts. He's 1-0 in the UFC, 1-0 in Contender Series. Used to fight up at welterweight. He's got inch height, 2 inches of reach over. So like he's 7 years younger, which is a pretty massive gap. A better striking stats, more active landing strikes. He's outstruck his 2 opponents by 2.04 strikes per minute, minus 530. So we got a squash match in the opener.
Yeah, and I'm obviously I'm obviously going to go with Aliev here. I just think, you know, my bottom line is I do think when you look at Solecki's fighting style, right? Solecki beats guys who he can force to grapple with him, right? Like that's kind of it. You mentioned his good grappling stats. It's because he's beating guys who, you know, he can get to the ground. He's beating guys who he can sweep and work on. And like, I just don't think that's the case here with Aliev. You know, Aliev, you know, he's got the name being what it is. You know, like you got the EV name and he fights like you would imagine he does. You know, he's got that grinder style. He went in there with Rafael Alves and took him out of there. He ground and pounded Josh Wick, who I thought was a pretty big prospect at the time. So like, you know, he's everything you want him to be. He's got good ground and pound. I will say, like, I don't love his finishing ability. If you were trying to find one reason to, like, maybe not get him on Aliev or maybe a reason to keep him out of DFS lineups or something like that, like, the move might be just that, like, he is not very much of a finisher outside of his Contender Series fight. So, you know, like, Aliev here, he'll probably win a decision pretty easily, you know, like 30-26 across the board. I think he's going to dominate.
Yep, I can't disagree with any of that. Aliev via decision is probably the play as well. So bigger, younger guy who is not afraid to grapple and is going to be, you know, much stronger, I think, than Joe Solecki. So Aliev is the play here. But yeah, don't go for inside the distance or finish or any of that stuff. I don't see that happening unless something's changed in this guy's game. All right, we're going to a female fight. We've got quite a few of those, and we're headlined by women's MMA fight as well. Last year was a big year for women's women's favorites. Women's favorites came through 70%. Men's favorites 69%. So it was a big year for favorites last year. We'll have to see if that. Usually it's around 67% for favorites traditionally. So it was a little bit higher. Women's a little bit higher than men's as well. Only 26 female underdogs won last year. So just some food for thought before we dive into all the female fights we are kicking off here. And there's a big underdog in this fight, bigger than I was surprised by the size of this, but this is a strawweight bout. Victoria Dudakova from Russia, Fatima Klein from the United States of America, 3 5-minute rounds. Dudakova is 8-1, 2 knockouts, 4 submissions. She's never been finished in a fight. She's 2-1 in the UFC. She did lose her last fight to Sam Hughes. And I remember saying this could be a prospect loss. I don't think I was brave enough to pick Hughes, was I? You might have.
I think I was.
Yeah. I said this is I could see this being a prospect loss, and it was. So she lost that bout. She went 1-0 Contender Series. She's missed weight fairly recently, a few fights ago, I think. More active landing strikes than Klein, better grappling stats than Klein, which is surprising, but we're talking small sample sizes for both Klein's fought one time that we have stats for. So Dudakova has been outstruck by 0.32 strikes per minute, and that's a 4-fight sample. So it's fairly good size sample. Plus 650. The Archangel, Fatima Klein, is 6-1, 2 knockouts, 1 submission, never been finished in a fight. 0-1 in the UFC. She did lose her last fight. That was a short notice fight, if I remember correctly, right? Was it up a weight class too, or was it just...
Yeah, against Jasmine Jasudavicius.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
so you're gonna fight at flyweight on short notice against Jasmine Jasudavicius. Yeah. I am the person who's.
I think she's gonna. I'm pretty sure she would lose to her even if it wasn't short notice too. That's a tough matchup for sure, especially for your.
I mean, that fight was razor close. You know, like I know ultimately, Jazzu won that one, but it was not a blowout by any stretch of the imagination.
Yep. So both ladies, I didn't even think of this. They're both coming off their first career loss. So this is a big fight for both these ladies. Klein has multiple regional championships on her
mantle.
Correct. Get the shirt, sportsgamblingpockets.com/store. shirt I'm wearing is from that store. The hat I'm wearing is from that store. So you want to be cool like me, obviously. She used to fight up at 125, as we said last. That's what she's could fight at 105. I think she's definitely not a
no, I don't know about that.
You think so? You think? No, she's
I mean,
really
she's
big of a strawweight.
I mean, she's very physically solid. I think. I think, and I've seen her. I've seen her grapple like 35ers because she's on the grappling circuit all the time. Like I don't know that she'd make 05.
Speaking of grappling, she has multiple grappling championships. She's 15-6 as a pro in grappling. An inch of height over Dudakova, a year younger, better striking stats. She was outstruck barely by, as Gumby said, it was a close fight by Jazz. She was outstruck by 0.07 strikes per minute, so pretty much a wash. Minus 770. Were you surprised by how I'm picking Klein? Obviously, are you shocked at how wide a line this is?
No, should be wider. I'm surprised she's not a big.
You're not big on Dudakova though. Well, you picked against her last fight, so
Dudakova got held down on the ground by Jinyu Fry for 5 minutes.
It's true. Little tiny
Jinyu Fry, 105-pound, 45-year-old.
Yeah.
She's not 45. I'm being a little bit hyperbolic, but like she's like an old atom weight in straw weight. And, we've got this girl with a Russian sounding name and everybody's like, oh, prospect. Like, and then she held her down, which is exactly why I picked Sam Hughes in that fight.
Yeah.
Is I was like, if Jinyu Fry can hold her down, Sam Hughes will do just fine physically, right, in this fight. Yeah. And ultimately, she used it in the reverse. She didn't shoot takedowns, and instead she, just beat her up on the feet, which Hughes has been known to do, too. She's got a good gas tank. But, the bottom line here is that if, Jinyu Fry could control you on the mat like that, you're going to be in a lot of trouble here against Fatima Klein, because Fatima Klein's grappling level is tippy top. Her number one training partner is Aaron Blanchfield, and it shows, right? They fight like each other. The hands are still coming around a bit, although they look pretty good against Gadzhiyasulov. She didn't look like a novice in there. Hands are still coming around a little bit, but at the end of the day, the grappling chops are so high level. Either submission wise, position wise. I love the way she passes guard. I think that's maybe the most underrated part of her game is how she gets past her opponent's legs and works herself into side control. So yeah, I'm a big Fatima Klein fan. I do think the grappling of Dudakova is underrated or overrated due to her last name. And I think it's going to get wildly exposed here.
There you go. Wildly exposed. All right. We are both in on Klein. This one I see going the distance as well. This is another one, but I think we're going to start off the night with a couple of decisions. All right, before we move on, let me tell you about DraftKings playoffs. We are talking about playoffs. We sure are talking about playoffs. You bet we are. Get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Scoring touchdowns is key to winning in the playoffs, and you can score big by betting on them at DraftKings, the number one place to bet touchdowns. Ready to place your first bet? Try betting on something simple like a player to score 6. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app and make your pick. And of course, it's not just NFL. They've got all the UFC lines. They got UFC props. They've got the futures that we did a whole bunch of episodes on over the past few weeks. We were getting those straight from the DraftKings Sportsbook. So if you are a new DraftKings customer, you can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code SGP. That's code SGP for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours. Is that gentleman here again to give people the T's and the C's? Yes, T's and C's.
He sure is. Here you go.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPENY or text HOPENY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Gambling.
Thank you, sir. Before you leave, can you let us know, do you know about LFA? It was a discussion we had. Oh, he left. He didn't hear me. Remember, I was questioning whether he actually knows about LFA, but he knows the T's and C's, that's for sure. Thank you, sir. We will see you tomorrow again. He's been showing up at either my house or Gumby's house. It depends. All right. We are going to light heavyweight belt now. Magomed Gadzhiyasulov. Another, speaking of last names,
Dude, how have you not gotten this one yet?
Gadzhiyasulov. Gadzhiyasulov. How? Because I'm the Rosetta Stone, as I was called on YouTube, on the Rosetta Stone of the podcast. That's how I didn't get the name right. He is from Bahrain. I can kind of say that properly. He is up in the light heavyweight bout against Bruno Lopes from Brazil, 3 5-minute rounds, 205. Tell you about Lopes first. Bruno, big Bruno, is 13-1, 6 knockouts, 5 submissions. He's been knocked out once. This is his debut. He went 1-1 in Contender Series. You probably picked, did you pick him in the, you probably picked against him in the belt that you lost, or you picked him in the belt he lost Contender Series, I think, right?
I can't remember who he fought.
Hibiero, he fought.
Oh, that's right. These guys have both fought Brentson Hibiero.
They both fought. Yep.
So I picked him the first time when Hibiero beat him. And it was
Lucky
like he weirdly got caught on a counter pretty viciously.
Yep. Since then, he has won 2 straight fights, both via finish. He was the LFA champion. He also was regional champ. He used to fight at welterweight and middleweight. 2013 Pro MMA debut. More active landing strikes than Gadzhiyasulov. I'll just say it anyway. I feel like it. Right?
That was better. That was much better.
It was. It's better if I just go fast. I think. Like pulling a Band-Aid off. Lopes has been outstruck on the Contender Series by 0.38 strikes per minute. He's at plus 185. Gadzhiyasulov. MG is the nickname. Oh, what a great nickname. 9-0, 4 knockouts, 1 submission. He's 1-0 in the UFC, 1-0 Contender Series, an inch of reach over Lopes. Better striking stats and grappling stats based on their small two fight sample size for both guys, but a common opponent there. Better striking stats, better grappling stats. I already said that. He's outstruck his opponents by almost 2 strikes. He's at plus 1.93, and he's at minus 225 on the board. So another wide odd fight to kick things off.
Yeah, getting a little closer here, but I like Gadzhiyasulov still. If you look at Lopes, the biggest issue being that he gets caught with counters by guys who fight long. Gadzhiyasulov kind of does that. In addition to that, he was, he fought against a Georgian guy who I was pretty big on Contender Series when he won. I'm actually 0 for 2 picking on him in the Contender Series. One.
Oh, you're going to be 0 for 3 after this.
Yeah, Nicolle said, oh man, if you... This
I haven't made my pick yet. This
is a bad underdog pick for you. I would say, he fought Nicolle Santa Cadiz in Santa Keel. And when he fought him, I still don't think he was the better fighter. His opponent just absolutely ran out of gas in the most embarrassing fashion. I was like, there's no way Dana White watches that fight and is like, this guy is ready for the big show. And guess what he said? Almost the exact words I predicted he wouldn't. And Gadzhiyasulov is just he's dynamic on the feet. He fights long. He throws that push kick. He fights from angles. Whereas you got a guy who's very plodding, one-dimensional. I guess he's got a little bit of a grappling game, but for the most part, this guy wants to go in there and slug, and he couldn't even really knock out a guy who was sort of a standing. He wound up getting a TKO, but he couldn't land big on a guy who was just kind of like a standing lame duck. He had to start punching the body and hope that the referee stepped in. I don't even really trust his power all that much. So yeah, give me Gadzhiyasulov in this one.
Yeah, I'll take him too. Don't worry.
I talk you out of it?
Kind of. But it's more that I'm fishing for dogs, and there's no real reason. I do think Lopes is pretty good, but Gadzhiyasulov hasn't really shown any issues yet. He hasn't shown any reason not to pick him at this point. So
I think I am 0 for 3 in his last 3 fights, as a matter of fact, too, because I also think I took
LFA too.
Did he win his title over Bebejao? I think he beat Bebejao in that fight, and I'm almost positive I had Bebejao.
Yep. Well, why am I siding with you? I am anyhow. So, all right, we're going back to a female fight. This is women's flyweight. Ernesta Kareckaite. I can't remember how to say her name too. I think that's close enough. Is it not?
I think he's in the surreal gain area where we've said it a different time every time.
Right. Yeah.
The most important thing is we're confident. So I'm going to say Kareckaite.
Kareckaite. Okay. Well, yeah, that's true. Why do I care so much when the actual official UFC broadcasters don't care about saying the names? I've done more research on her too than most of the UFC commentators. She's fighting Nicolle Caliari from Brazil, 3 5-minute rounds, 125. We should be like the alternate feed for the UFC broadcast, don't you think?
Maybe we'll get some live alternative feeds. Maybe come next Contender Series or something.
It should be us.
If you like the idea of possibly us doing a live watch along too, put that down in the comments. Let us know that you'd come and watch it, and perhaps we'll start trying to line something like that up for at least a couple fights.
Yeah, if enough of you want. I want to be paid for it though, Gumby, so I would rather the UFC hire us, but Fine, you degens. I think there's
baby steps.
I think there's like, isn't there like tipping? They can give you tips while you do online things. We can do that. I'm a capitalist.
I don't like how that feels.
I know, but hey, it's like we're exotic dancers. We're getting money thrown at us. All right, let's speak. I shouldn't speak about that when I'm talking about these female athletes. Caliari is 8-2, 5 knockouts, 3 submissions. So she's finished everyone. She's been submitted once. This is her debut. She's won 4 straight fights. She's not lost since October 2019. 1-0 on Contender Series, 0-1 in Invicta. Used to fight at 115, 2015 Pro MMA debut. Better grappling stats than Kareckaite. Is been outstruck in her Contender Series fight by 1.27 strikes per minute. Yet she still won, plus 220. Heavy-handed Kareckaite, 5-1-1 with 2 knockouts. Never been finished in a fight. 0-1 in the UFC, 1-0 in Contender Series. Lost her last fight. Was a regional champ. Used to fight at a bantamweight. 2-0 as a pro kickboxer. 1-0 as a pro boxer. 6 inches taller. 9 inches of reach. 2 years younger than Caliari. 4 times more active landing strikes than Caliari. She's outstruck her opponents by 1 strike per minute. Exactly. Minus 250. Kareckaite is a pick. She's obviously going to just piece her apart on the feet, especially with she's a better striker to begin with. And then she's got 9 inches of reach. She's gonna put it on the Brazilian here. So Kareckaite is my pick.
Yeah, I agree with you entirely. And really, if you go back to Caliari's fight on Contender Series, she was getting worked on the feet by a grappler. She would get backed up against the cage, picked apart. It was only when that grappler shot the takedown and, wound up in guard, got armbarred and really put themselves in that armbar too. It was really kind of sloppy defense. That's the only out she had in Kareckaite is not going to shoot a takedown. Kareckaite is not going to work herself to the mat. Kareckaite is not going to let Caliari work her to the mat, and she is going to get punished for every time she steps in. I really like Ernesta Kareckaite here. I think she is going to put on an absolute clinic.
You think she's going to finish her?
I do. Yeah. And you may hear more about that at the end of tomorrow's show.
That's why I'm asking. So, interesting. All right. I won't steal your play though. If that is the play. I've got other ideas. Don't worry. I do have to write an article today too about a prop play of the week. So we'll see which one of our prop plays piques my interest the most. Let's move to a men's fight, welterweight. Preston Parsons from United States. Jacobe Smith, the United States as well. He's not Toe. Isn't there? Isn't Jacobe Smith Toe as well? A different Jacobe Smith?
No, it's Jacobe Big Toe Jones.
Jones. Okay, I had the first name right. All right, this is a different guy. Obviously, pressure Preston Parsons. Triple P is 11-5 with 9 submissions. We've got a few fighters on here with we just had Solecki, nothing but submission wins. Parsons, nothing but submission wins. Next fight, the fighter we're fighting, nothing but submission wins. So could be an interesting grappling night. He's 11-5, 9 submissions. Like I said, he's been knocked out twice, submitted once. 2-3 in the UFC. Loss, win, loss, win. The loss is the pattern there. Can't really get a groove going here. I used to fight at 155, 2014 Pro MMA debut. An inch of reach over Smith. Inch of height. The reach is not an advantage for Parsons. He's outstruck his opponents in the UFC by 0.38 strikes per minute, plus 400. Smith 9-0 with 7 knockouts. This is his short notice UFC debut. Quite short notice. Just about we've known about it for about a week, right?
Yeah, I think he's a little over a week. It looked like from what I could tell, Andreas Gustafsson pulled out probably 2.5 weeks ago. So I wouldn't be surprised to find out he had about a 2.5 week training camp.
Okay. 3 straight wins via TKO. He went one that includes a win on Contender Series, which got him in here into the UFC. Used to fight at 185, an inch of reach over Parsons, better striking stats, more active landing strikes. This is all based off one fight for Smith, though, where he outstruck his opponent by 5.56 strikes per minute. Minus 435 for a short notice debutant against a veteran. Is that a wise line to play, Gumby?
I mean, I think you could throw it in a parlay or use him in daily fantasy and not
You're
sweat.
That confident,
I mean, he's really good. And if you watch what was best about him on the Contender Series, I don't know if you remember everything on Contender Series quite the way I do, but he's the guy who, remember when he had that back body lock and he jumped in and threw his shin bone in the back of somebody's knee, bending him at a weird angle so he could take the back. This dude is an incredibly creative, high-level wrestler with great grappling defense. And when you talk about a guy in Parsons who is only ever beating guys with grappling, Why would you want him in there with a high level? Like, that's a nightmare. Like, at least his fight with Andreas Gustafsson was going to like Gustafsson loves the clinch. Like, it's fine. Maybe he could sub him. We don't know how good Gustafsson's defense is. We know how good Jones is, or we know how good Smith's is. It is. You got me saying Jones. Look at that. We know how good Smith's is. It's very high level. And then on top of that, like, I know it's saying he's got TKO finishes and everybody's like, oh yeah, the ground and pound's good. And he's got a lot of ground and pound finish. Dude's got a missile for a right hand too. Like, he has lined up some big shots on the right hand and like stunned people on the feet too. Like, he is a big power guy here coming into this fight. Parsons is a guy I don't trust on the feet. And I just don't think he has any, I don't think he has any chance to dictate where this fight goes. So yeah, of course, I'm going with Jacobe here.
Yeah, okay. I will too. I can see though, guy short notice losing to a veteran. This would be a type of prospect bout, but as you said, the actual stylistic matchup is definitely in the newcomer's favor. And he's well coached. He's a Fortis guy, right? As far as I remember.
Yeah, he is a Fortis guy. Yeah. And he trains, his number one training partner, if I'm not mistaken, is Nick Piccinini, who went 1-1 on this past year's Contender Series, and he is again a very high level wrestler. So we're talking about high level wrestlers training with high level wrestlers.
Yep. All right. Let's move on. We're both in on that pick as well. We haven't differed on anything as of yet. Next bout, 155. Thiago Moisés, Trey Ogden, Brazil versus United States of America, 3 500 rounds. Ogden is samurai with an H, which means he's a joke.
Wait a second. Time out. Did you say Trey Ogden is no longer the Samurai Ghost?
He is. Oh, that's right. Tapology has him listed as Samurai. I forgot all about the Samurai Ghost.
Samurai.
Okay, no, he's forever. He's forever Samurai Ghost in our eyes.
Okay. I just had to pump the brakes, both because I put up the wrong graphic and also because I was pretty sure he was the Samurai Ghost. Anyway, please proceed.
Yeah, no. Tapology could be steering us wrong, but who's to say? He's 18-6 with 1 no contest, 11 submissions. So he's the other guy I was mentioning, nothing but submissions. He's been submitted himself 3 times, 3-2 with 1 no contest in the UFC. He's won 2 straight, and then he's gone 3-2 with 1 no contest over his last 6. Regional champ, 1 no in Bellator, 2015 pro MMA debut, 2 inches height, 2 inches of reach over Moisés. Better striking stats, more active landing strikes than Moisés. He's been outstruck by 0.39 strikes per minute in the UFC, plus 160. Thiago Moisés, 18-8, 4 knockouts, 8 submissions. Knocked out twice, submitted once, 7-6 in the UFC. Loss, win, loss over his last 3, 3-4 over his last 7. Regional champ, used to fight up, at featherweight. 2012 pro MMA debut, 6 years younger than Ogden. He's been outstruck by 1.75 strikes per minute, plus 400. Not plus 400, minus 180. Plus 400 is next fight. I'm taking a dog here. I'm going with the Samurai. I think he can hang on the feet. He's definitely a better grappler. And I think like I said, I think he can hang on the feet. Then Moisés a little bit bigger than him as well. I think he's worthy of a dog pick here. So give me the Samurai Ghost.
So I'm gonna buck what you said here while also supporting you and picking the exact same guy. So okay. I'm agreeing with you. I will take Trey Ogden. I think Trey Ogden's the better fighter in this fight. I think he's going to win. I'm not going to tell you that he's a better grappler than Thiago Moisés. I disagree with that. So? I think he's a better wrestler than Thiago Moisés. And I think that is a clear distinction here because, as you mentioned, I think he can hold his own on the feet. I think in this fight, there's a good chance that Trey Ogden looks as good, if not better, than Thiago Moisés. If that's the case, I do think he also has the agency to decide where this fight takes place. Being the guy who is the better wrestler, I think he can sort of dictate if he wants this to never hit the mat. Now, with that being said, Thiago Moisés is a guy who we've known falling back for leg locks and actually hit him, right? He hit that one on Michael Johnson, falling to guard, stuff like that to get the fight to the mat. But also, I think Trey Ogden's safe on top. Like, so if he does decide kind of silly to wrestle here, or if maybe he's just not getting the better on the feet and chooses to wrestle, I think he's got the positional advantages here. So yeah, I'm with you. I like Trey Ogden as my only underdog so far. I think, like I said, that wrestling advantage is going to play out.
There you go. We're even linking up on the dogs, and it's not me copying Gumby. It's the other way around this time. So, and a good segue into underdog. Perfect timing to pick a dog. Underdog at Pick'em has one of the biggest menus for all sports. Underdog is always making it easier to win with profit boosts and gimme pick'ems. Underdog Playoff Best Ball is now live. The Gauntlet Tournament has $2 million in prizes up for grabs for just $25 in entry. NFL, college football, college basketball, MMA, NBA, NASCAR, and more. And you now use specials and boosts on all flex entries. Gumby, give the people a play.
Yeah, of course. If we're going to go to the NFL playoffs here, Saturday's got a couple of games at 4:30. We've got the Chargers and the Texans. Sorry about this one, Munaf. I'm going to take Ladd McConkey's higher than on his passing yards, listed at 70.5 right now. I think this game could wind up being a shootout, and he's gone over 70.5 in each of his last 3 games and in 4 out of his last 5. So let's get in on the Ladd McConkey train right now. And take the higher than on his receiving yards.
What a name. Ladd McConkey. Amazing. All right, here's the important part, especially if you want us in your orifices 5 days a week. Sign up with our code MMASGPN to claim your special pick and first time deposit. Offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. That's underdogfantasy.com, promo code MMASGPN. That would help us out greatly and would keep giving you more of Gumby, not more of me. I wouldn't advertise more of me because that would make you not enter the code. More of Gumby. All right, we're moving up to a middleweight fight. Marco Tulio from Brazil, Ihor Potieria from the Ukraine, 3 5-minute rounds. Potieria is duelist, 21-7, 9 knockouts, 7 submissions. He's been knocked out 4 times, submitted once, 2-5 in the UFC. I lost my spot. Here he is. He's lost 2 straight. He's gone 1-4 over his last 5, 2-5 over his last 7. So not a very good run here. He has missed weight before at 185. He's a regional champ, or used to fight up at light heavyweight. 2015 Pro MMA debut, 3 inches of height and 1 inch of reach over. Tulio, 2 years younger, more active landing strikes. He's been outstruck in the UFC by 0.15 strikes per minute, plus 400. Matuto is the nickname, or Machucho probably is how you would say it. 12-1, 8 knockouts, 1 submission. He's been knocked out once. This is his UFC debut. He has won 8 straight fights, 2 straight via TKO. He's not lost since September 2018. He fought twice in Contender Series and won both of those fights. Better striking stats, better grappling stats than Potieria. He outstruck his Contender Series opponents by 1.64 strikes per minute, and he's at minus 500. So another newcomer coming in as a big, big favorite.
Well, that's because I'm pretty sure they only keep Ihor Potieria around just to get beat up by newcomers. Am I wrong about that?
Yeah, possibly.
Like when a guy needs a win, here's Ihor. And I think this is no different here. I like Tulio. I don't know if I'm as high on him as some other people are, but like, the bottom line is if you watch his fight, actually, I'm higher on him about his fight that didn't get him a contract than the one that did. If you watch his fight against Yusuf Belagori, like Belagori, high-level kickboxer coming out of the same camp as Alex Pereira, training down there with Glover Teixeira and stuff. He comes from Europe, from a kickboxing background. And Tulio showed that he's not just a striker, and he could drag him to the mat and win kind of like a grinding, ugly decision. Now, Dana thought it was really ugly and didn't give him a contract, but they did bring him back, and we got to see like the full extent of how good his striking is when he's not worried about the guy across from him. But like we've always kind of known that he was a good striker who, when he's not worried about the guy across from him, just unleashes and throws spinning back kicks and knocks people out. I think the beauty of this fight, he's fighting Potieria, a guy who's kind of open for counters all the time. And in addition to that, like if he does not like the striking, that grappling's in his back pocket. People, he's not thought of as a wrestler, but I think it's way better than a lot of middleweight. Like this middleweight division, outside of the Bo Nichols and the Cabo Hayos and the Khamzat Chimaevs, like not a ton of beast mode wrestlers in there. And like he is going to surprise a lot of people in this division with that wrestling ability. So give it Tulio here. Not a fun line by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm still taking him as a winner.
Yeah, I am as well. That's gonna be said. He's fighting the designated can of the weight class or weight division, one of the designated cans up there. So Tulio is the pick here. All right, now we're on to the person I get bullied over, Felipe Bunes from Brazil.
I was hoping you would forget so I could talk about your favorite fighter in the whole world. You got to make a pick first here, And I got to tell you, it's going to be real bold if you go against your favorite futures.
Of course, I am. He's fighting against Jose Johnson. This is the flyweight belt, 3 5-minute rounds if they need it. Bunes, Filipino, little Philip, not Filipino. I think I already did that. We already had that talk.
We did this joke. We did this joke, and it wasn't funny.
Nope. 13-7, 3 knockouts, 8 submissions. I think I got an episode title out of it though. He's been knocked out once, submitted twice. 0-1 in the UFC, 2-1 over his last 3, 3-5 over his last 8. Got TKO'd in his last fight. LFA champ and a regional champ. Used to fight up at bantamweight because all flyweights have a 2011 pro MMA debut, twice more active than Johnson, landing strikes. However, he's been outstruck, or was outstruck in his UFC fight by 3.47 strikes per minute, plus 163. Lobo Solitario, 16-9, 8 knockouts, 3 submissions. He's been knocked out once, submitted 4 times, 1-2 in the UFC, loss over his UFC career, 4-2 over his past 6, 1-1 in Contender Series, regional champ. Used to fight he fought at every weight class almost. Bantamweight, featherweight, lightweight. 1-0 in pro Muay Thai, 5 inches taller than Bunes, 2 inches reach on him, 6 years younger, better striking stats, better grappling stats. He's outstruck his opponents by 0.58 strikes per minute, and he's at minus 180. I'm going against my boy. I'm taking Double J. Johnson is the pick. Bigger, younger, better at everything. No reason not to pick him here, and we're getting a good line on him.
Yeah, he's on the Top Turtle MMA podcast this week talking about how he had 80 amateur fights, which is
no way,
just insane. Yeah, it's a crazy story. But yeah, I'm taking Jose Johnson here too for 2 reasons. Number one, that reach and that height is just going to be a lot for Bunes to deal with, and on top of that too, I think Johnson kind of gets slept on how good his grappling has become. Like, sort of my knock on him earlier in his career when he was a pro and, like, I want to say Fury FC or something like that. Like, I was like, oh, this guy, kind of has some issues with wrestling. But since then, he went in there and he submitted Mo Miller, who's a good wrestler. He went in there. Did he submit Jack Cartwright or just take him down a bunch on Contender Series? And I was like, I did not see Jack Cartwright getting beat by Jose Johnson via grappling. And now he's down a weight class too, where he can sort of bully people more. So, like, that reach is even more impressive for a flyweight. And then in addition to that, the grappling is really played up for him as of late. So yeah, I like Jose Johnson a lot in this fight. I'm kind of perplexed on why the line's close. Like, nothing about Felipe Bunes has really stuck out to me as being special. So to see him this close following a loss, just kind of perplexing.
I mentioned his name as an aside. That's why he's the line's what it is. Like, oh, Jeff might like this guy. All right.
Jeff loves this guy.
We agreed on every fight. Go figure. All right. Here is our team ride for y'all. Johnson, Tulio, Ogden, Smith, after I put your name down, Smith, Kareckaite, Gadzhiyasulov, see, I slowed down that time, Gadzhiyasulov, Klein, and Aliev. Now that'll lock you in. Right?
That's right to me.
Yeah. All right. We did it. The 8 prelims are done. Tomorrow will be the 6 main card fights. What do I need to remind you of? Of course, Underdog Fantasy, MMA, SGPN helps keep the lights on and keeps us operational 5 days a week, which is what you people demand. What else? You should check out our YouTube, obviously. MMA, a gambling podcast. Make sure you subscribe. Check out the shorts that Gumby is putting up for the Monday and Tuesday regional episodes that didn't run this week. So check that out. Check us out on the, I'm doing it in a different order now, so I'm getting confused. The Twitter, SGPN MMA, Gumby runs that. He's at Gumby Vreeland. I'm at Jeff Fox Writer there and on Instagram. I got my Substack up and running still. I got my pick'em contest for this week's UFC up there as well. You can enter that for free. moneymma.substack.com. Gumby has a Top Turtle MMA podcast. He already told you he has Lobo Solitario on it this week. Is there anyone else on it?
Yeah, we also got Furkatbek Yokubov, who is 90% sure he'll be on The Ultimate Fighter. And you can hear why he is at 90% sure he'll be on The Ultimate Fighter this year on that show.
Yes. The name that you had to spell in YouTube for someone, right? That's the guy.
It's a tricky name. It's a tricky name.
It is. It is. And of course, the mothership, sportsgamblingpodcast.com, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store, and sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. We'll be back tomorrow. Heavy-handed, Jeff Fox, the Samurai, Gumby Vreeland. And we'll talk to you then.